Hey guys, Buffing Gaming back today, bringing in a video for our tactical weapon series for our favorite weapons. So today again, we're going to be covering part 5 here of our tactical weapon series, just going over off-meta weapons that you can build to be viable in Warzone, especially in multiplayer as well. Try and get away from the VLK, long barrel, mono suppressor, and commando foregrip builds that we see everybody using with maybe the same 3 to 4 weapons it seems like in the game here. So I'm going to show you guys some tactical builds, more real-world type conversions here that you can use in Warzone and multiplayer and are still viable to compete in both game modes. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now again, we'll pick up with part 5 here. We ended off part 4 the other day with our Knights Army Company light assault machine gun. So I'll put the links for all the parts we've done for the tactical weapon series down below. But first off, we're going to start with the FNP90. So again, this is a build I've covered for the Warzone weapons that I've used quite a bit, and this weapon is basically the same as the mode down blueprint here. If I just go to the blueprints we have for the P90, we have the mode down blueprint, which was from season 3, and I believe this was part of the battle pass. And you can see here, this one comes with the ring sight, the integral ring sight here on the FNP90, and it is actually very viable with that sight. So I'm going to make some minor changes here, as you'll see with the class. I would say you can even use it as is for that part, but again, we're going to strip this down to base. I'll cover some of the pros and cons here, and then I really won't repeat myself just because a lot of them are going to be the same. So for the muzzle here, we're going to go ahead and want the monolithic suppressor. And again, for this, sound suppression and damage at range. But the key here is with this one, you'll stay off the minimap with any suppressor. But with this monolithic suppressor, you do get the damage at range buff, which is very good, especially in Warzone. Cons here are the ADS speed and the aim, walk, and steadiness. But again, we'll go ahead and select that. It's not really going to hurt us too much. Now, for the barrel attachment, we're actually going to want the Forge Tac Retribution barrel. This is, again, going to be the longest barrel for the FNP90. Your other option here is going to be the 10.6-inch barrel, but we're going to go with this barrel. It's a 16-inch barrel overall. It's going to give you the pros for damage at range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Cons here are going to be the ADS speed and the movement speed here for this weapon. So we'll select that. Now, the optic, as I said, you can go with the FSS ring sight here, which is that integral optic that comes with the FNP90. But personally, I'm just going to go with something a little bit different here. You go with a holographic or an EOTech or something like an operative foregrip, just something to give you a nice, clean, precision sight picture. I do honestly really like the FSS ring sight as well. I think that's also a very viable option. So for the stock, we're going to go with the fly strap. This is going to help us with the sprint to fire speed and the aim, walking, and movement speed. The only con here is going to be the aiming stability for this weapon. Again, you have some other options here if you want the ADS speed, but again, the fly strap here, I really like the way it looks, but also the pros and cons seem to work really well with this weapon. Now, the final attachment here, we're going to go with the rubberized grip tape. Again, this is just going to help with that recoil. You can also swap this out for the stipple grip tape if you want the ADS speed buff there, but again, the rubberized grip tape is going to really just help us with that recoil control, especially if we're going at more medium range engagements for this weapon, which is really what it's built for. Cons here are just the aiming stability, which we've kind of made up for with other attachments on the weapon. So go ahead and select that. And that is our FNP90, utilizing the mode down blueprint. Overall, just a really clean looking blueprint. Really, we've only changed one thing, and that is the optic on this weapon. Very, very nice weapon overall. And again, it handles really well. Surprisingly, the ADS speed on this is not that bad. But feel free to swap out some of the attachments. You can definitely swap out the stock for something like a tactical laser as well. That'll definitely help out with this weapon for the ADS speed and the aim and stability as well. So that's personal preference, but overall, really nice build here. That's the FNP90. Let's go ahead and we'll go back now and we'll go to the M1A. So I've covered this in some previous videos as well for our favorite weapon series and our conversion series. So this is the M1A. It's the civilian variant of the M14 by Springfield Armory. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. Now I'm using the messenger blueprint here just to give us that M1A look instead of using the stock. So let me go ahead and strip this down. Now with other weapons, if you would need the lightweight stock option to give it this look that we want, the whole new chassis system on this. And you can see the different options here you have, and you can see how the FTech lightweight stock is unique. But I don't want to waste an attachment slot on that, so what we're going to do is use the messenger blueprint, and there's also a few more in store that give us that look at base without having to use the attachment. So the muzzle here, we're going to go with a monolithic suppressor. Again, same pros and cons we covered. Going to give you the damage at range buff there, and it's going to keep you off the minimap, which is key. And also, you have the unique blueprint for this weapon for the barrel, or excuse me, the suppressor attachment, which goes along with the blueprint overall. So it looks really nice. Now, we're going to go with the personal preference here. You can just go with a 20-inch barrel or the 22-inch barrel. I think either are very viable, but if you're going for precision longer range, I think the damage, or excuse me, the range buff on the 22-inch isn't that significant over the 20, but feel free to go whichever one you want. They both have the same pros and cons, being damage at range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Cons are the ADS speed and the movement speed, but again, you're going to get a little bit more pros and cons statistic-wise over the 20-inch barrel, so just keep that in mind. Your movement speed will also be down, though, so that's going to be personal preference. But for this one, we'll run the 22-inch. Personally, typically I run the 20, but this is also obviously very valuable if you're going to be going for longer range engagements as well, and it will help with the recoil control a little bit also. Now the optic, we're going to want that variable zoom sight. Again, this is just going to allow us to toggle from the 3.5 to the 8 times magnification levels here, so we can engage closer targets as well as longer range targets. The only con here is the ADS speed, since we're adding that heavy optic to the weapon. Another option would be the sniper scope. You can also go with this one. Personally, I don't really like the way it looks. Plus, I like to have the ability to toggle back and forth. And this just goes along with the blueprint, so that's also good. Now, we can skip the stock since we have the look we want. We'll skip out on the perk. For the ammunition, we're going to want that 20-round M1A magazine. This is going to be a 7.62 by 51mm NATO. It's going to go from a 10-round at base to a 20-round with this attachment. So we're going to double the magazine capacity. The cons are going to be the ADS speed and the movement speed for this weapon. You can see the default and the different attachments we have here are the blueprint fragment smithing we can do. So we're just going to go with the default. I think that's a nice clean look overall. And now the underbarrel, personal preference. You can really, depends on how you're going to be firing this. I think the Ranger foregrip or the Operator foregrip even would be a nice option here. If you're going to be firing in crouch or prone, definitely the bipod would be nice. But for this one, we're going to go with the Ranger foregrip. And you can see, again, some of the different options you have here. That looks pretty nice on there too. So we'll go ahead and just select the stiff arm one. Now the pros and cons for this are the recoil control and the aiming stability. The cons here are going to be the aim walking movement speed and the aim down sight speed. So again, this is actually a very good DMR. You just need to take your time and get your shots on target with this thing. And it's actually very effective. You just need to be mindful of the recoil on this weapon. So this is the Springfield Armory M1A. Go ahead and back out and jump to our next weapon here. And we have the APC 9SD. So we covered this one, very similar type build, but again, this one's more so geared towards Warzone. We covered this in our conversion series. So what we're going to do with this one is we made some changes here. If I go ahead and strip this down, for the barrel, we're going to want the final barrel you get for this, which is the Nightshade barrel. Now this is going to assist with the damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and the sound suppressor. So we have that integral suppressor on this attachment, which saves us the slot of having to use a suppressor, and we can use that slot elsewhere. So the cons here are going to be the ADS speed and the movement speed. So we'll select that. Now for the laser, we're going to want the tack laser. Again, this is just going to assist with the ADS speed, aiming stability, and the aim walking steadiness. You just got to be conscious of when and where you're ADSing, because that laser will be visible when you're aiming down sights. Now optic, I recommend a clean type red dot one-time magnification, either a EOTech or even an Operator reflex sight here. Just give you a nice clean precision sight picture. So you can get shots on target very quickly. You don't really need any magnification level on this, and I do enjoy a nice red dot type sight over the iron sights as well. So we'll go ahead and select that. Now the ammunition, we're going to want the 50-round drum mag, especially because we're using this specifically in Warzone. We want the extra ammunition. It has a very high rate of fire, I believe 1,000 rounds per minute. So this will increase our magazine capacity over the base of 20, so we're going to add 30 extra rounds of the 9mm Parabellum. The cons here are the ADS speed and the movement speed, because we're carrying that extra ammunition. And the underbarrel here, we're going to go ahead and do the Ranger foregrip, same as we used with the M1A. Same pros and cons. You can also go ahead with the Merc foregrip if you're planning on trying to hip fire this at all, and you can swap out the tack laser for the 5mm if that's how you're planning on playing. But the Ranger foregrip, this is mainly built for the medium range engagements, close to medium range engagements. Definitely not your hip fire machine, but again, you can gear this to be that by just swapping out for a 5mm and even a Ranger foregrip, and you'll be all set. Very nice weapon. A lot of people don't like this, but I've only had success with this weapon. I haven't had any really bad engagements with this. I seem to always beat out other players with SMGs. So this is the APC 9SD. We'll go ahead now and back out, and we'll go to the TAR 21, or the Tavor 21 by IWI. So we'll go ahead and select this. This is a build I've covered again in our Warzone series. Really nice weapon, very underrated weapon. I think this is definitely one of the better weapons, top tier weapons here in Warzone. So first off, we're going to go with the muzzle. We're going to want that monolithic suppressor again, give us that damage at range boost, and obviously with any suppressor, we'll stay off the minimap, which is key for Warzone. Now for the barrel, as per usual, we're going to want the longest barrel attachment here with the FSS Ranger. This is going to assist with the damage range, bullet velocity, and the recoil control. The cons here are the ADS speed and the movement speed. And again, this handguard looks different than what you're used to with the Tavor 21 from Modern Warfare 2, I believe. This is a key mod handguard by Midwest Industries versus the standard handguard that comes on the Tavor 21 series. So keep that in mind. Nice looking, modernized look to this with the key mod handguard. Now the laser, so we're going to build this mainly for solos. You can swap out some attachments, but the tac laser, again, just help us with the ADS speed. All the same pros and cons. Again, just be careful of when and where you're ADSing so you don't give away your position. Now for the optic, personal preference, I'm one that really enjoys the integral hybrid of the Leopold hammer sight. Again, you can go from the 3.25 Scout optic there, as well as you have that top-mounted red dot sight for the closer quarters engagements. I think this optic complements a lot of these weapons really well, and you can quickly toggle between the two for closer and medium range engagements. Go ahead and select that. And now next up, we're going to go ahead and select we're going to go with the rear grip for this. Again, this is mainly for solos. We'll go ahead and do the recoil control. Again, this will just help us with that recoil. This climbs up and to the left, so this will help us mitigate that best we can. And then the con there is the aiming stability, but we've made up for that with the tac laser. Now, ammunition, if you're running this in anything trios or quads, you can swap out the grip tape for the ammunition, run that 50-round Stenag mag there. For the underbarrel now, we're going to go again with a Ranger foregrip. I think this complements this weapon really well with the recoil control again. So you're going to minimize the recoil control a lot here with the barrel, as well as the grip tape and the underbarrel attachment. The cons here are the aim walking movement speed and the ADS speed, which again, we've mitigated and made up for that as well. But it looks like I'm actually out of slots. So we're going to actually swap that out for the grip tape. And there we go. So I put one extra slot there. That's our solo build. Now you're still making up for that recoil because you have the Ranger foregrip, as well as the barrel attachment here. So you're going to really mitigate the recoil here. Again, since it does climb up and to the left, you can also go with the Commando foregrip, but I personally prefer the Ranger. I just feel like it's a little bit easier to control that recoil on this weapon because it does have that high rate of fire. And really quick, that's our IWI Tavor 21 with our Midwest Industries key mod handguard. Pretty nice looking weapon. This is probably one of the top tier yet most underrated weapons and unused weapons in Warzone, I believe. Go ahead and back out, and now we'll cover our final weapon here for part 5 of the Tactical Weapon series. Is going to be the Uzi Pro. So, modernized type Uzi here. We have built, what I'll do here is strip this down, and we're going to be using our blowback blueprint here. It gives us more of that, not quite to spec what we want for an Uzi Pro, but more of a modernized look to the Uzi. So, the muzzle, again, we're going to run that monolithic suppressor. Just a nice big fat suppressor on there. Now, we're going to stay with the base barrel here. The tac laser is what we're going to run for the laser attachment. Same pros and cons. Now the optic, I'll opt for a holographic sight on this. I think it complements the weapon really well for that nice modernized Western look. And then for the ammunition, we're going to run the 41 Action Express 32 round magazine. Again, this is going to assist with the damage and the range for this weapon. Cons are going to be the recoil control, which we've made up with in some other areas here, especially with the underbarrel attachment. We'll run the Merc foregrip, which again will assist with that recoil control, as well as give us the pro of the hip fire accuracy. The cons here are going to be the aim walking movement speed and the aim down sight speed. So we'll go ahead and select that. And here is our final version of the Uzi Pro. Very nice looking westernized type Uzi here using that EOTech or the holographic optic there. And we have that big fat monolithic suppressor on there, which complements the weapon again very nicely. And we get that damage at range buff. So we get a lot of damage at range, especially with that 32 Action Express. So that is our Uzi Pro. That is our Tactical Weapon Series Part 5. Let me know which ones are your favorite out of the P90, the FMP90 using the holographic EOTech sight with the mode down blueprint. We have the Springfield Armory M1A using the Messenger blueprint. We have the APC 9SD. We have the IWI Tavor 21 and the Uzi Pro here for Part 5. So let me know which one is your favorite. What are your favorite tactical weapons that you like to use in Warzone? I know we've had a lot of AK operators here lately in the live streams, especially here on the channel. So really, you guys are probably my biggest fans. I love the AKs. They complement the game very well, especially our Veil Protector right here. We'll be getting the AS Veil next week. Really pumped for that. But let me know what weapons you're looking most forward to here for Season 6. What are your favorite tactical weapons that you like to run in multiplayer in Warzone to try and play more so realistic and off meta? And until next time, this is Buffner Gaming with the Tactical Weapon Series Part 5. Buffner Gaming, out.